guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I just had breakfast. I'm currently finishing my green drink. It's not as gross as it looks. It's actually raspberry lemonade flavor, so it's delicious and it's good for me. I am honestly super nervous for today's video, for you to hear the story time that I've been keeping from you for a decade. So today's vlog is gonna be a bit of a rough one, and so I thought before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's have like a positive moment to start. And I'm excited to tell you that we have just launched our Valentine's Day mystery boxes, and the theme is Love Potion box, which I love, pun intended. So to start, we have our really cute Love Potion Pom Pal, Love Her. I have also put my own Love Potion necklaces that I made into this box. I'm actually wearing 2 of them, and there's I think 10 plus different colors and styles and different charms that come on the necklace, and so you don't know which one you're gonna get into your box, which is really exciting. We also have jessiivee makeup bags that are on theme with the colors, light pink, dark pink. And last but not least, actually I think my favorite item in this box is our slime, and this is also pink and there's hearts on it, and it says I love you axolotl. What is this creature and how do you pronounce it? I need to know immediately. And I thought to just add an extra special touch to our day. For the next 24 hours, if you get anything on our website, you will get a holographic rose. And I think these are gorgeous, and they remind me of Beauty and the Beast. So I'm gonna put a link to our Valentine's Day mystery boxes down below. By the way, if you didn't know, Valentine's Day is my birthday, and I'm gonna be 31 years old. I shouldn't have said that. Ty, edit that out. Anyways, guys, let's get the vlog started. Okay, so this is such a weird moment for me because this is a story that I have been wanting to tell for 10 years, and I've kind of been hinting at it for 10 years and driving people crazy, and this is like my #1 question that I get on my videos: when are you telling the story of what happened to you in high school? And there is a version of myself that sits down and tells you the story for 3 hours straight, because honestly the story does span over 3 whole years and there's so much detail. And to be totally transparent with you guys, I did sit down yesterday and film this, and I was talking for an hour straight. And when I was looking over the footage, I thought, you know what? That is just too much. That is too much detail. It almost gets too personal, and I think I'm talking about too many private things, and I just think it was too long and too much. So today I'm filming this again, and I'm gonna tell you the shorter version. I'm gonna try and keep it to under 10 minutes. We'll see if that actually happens. But I wanted to do it in a more casual manner. So I had gotten this really cute coloring book. It's called Creepy Cuties, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like inside. There's all these like adorable pages of like spooky creatures and monsters and ghosts and skeletons, and I don't know, I thought it was so cute. And I also have my markers. These are watercolor markers, and when I filmed this video yesterday, I found out that they are terrible quality. Either they're terrible quality or I'm just using the wrong paper, because this is not watercolor paper. This is like printer paper. So they're blotchy and terrible, but it's gonna be fine. We're gonna work with them. I also have my tried and true Prismacolor pencils. I love these, and so we might use these for shading. I'm not really sure, but because I'm being transparent that I filmed this video yesterday, I did do a coloring page, and it was this. This is a pumpkin Tamagotchi, and I forgot to color the wings, okay? It's also a bat, but we're gonna set that to the side and try and forget about that. Okay, so we're doing the second filming today, and I'm gonna try and keep things simple, and we are going to be coloring a blood juice packet, okay? It's not a milk carton, it's a blood carton, and so that's what I'm gonna be coloring while I tell you this story. This is gonna be told entirely from my perspective, my point of view. I can't make any assumptions on this person. By the way, the real like title, I guess, of this story time is My Best Friend Tried to Me. I'm not gonna say the word because YouTube might not like that. And like, I know I'm like kind of sounding like I'm making jokes about it. It is a very, very serious story, and I just need to get it out of my system, and then we can move on. I also want to say that the story is not gonna make a ton of sense to a lot of people because it doesn't even make a ton of sense to me. You know, I had a best friend who eventually sort of lost it. And I will never understand how we got to that point. It just happened, okay? I still don't get it. So it's gonna be weird, but we're gonna talk about the story now. So I don't know, should we go with these or should we go with more pastel colors or like maybe pink? I don't know. Let's just get started. So I was really nervous to go into high school because I was a very shy person. I had a couple best friends in my life, but they all had other friends and I didn't see them super often. I didn't have anyone that I was incredibly close with. So I was nervous about making new friends when I was going into high school. My very first day, I walked into French class and the teacher told us to sit anywhere that we wanted, and I looked around and everyone knew each other and everyone was talking and everyone already had these groups that they were with for some reason. And I saw this girl sitting at the very back of French class by herself, and there was an open seat, and I was like, okay, maybe this is meant to be, I will go sit there. And she was also very quiet, but very smiley and nice. And I guess long story short, over about a span of a week, we started talking and doing projects together, and we started going to sit together at lunch in the cafeteria, and the friendship sparked super, super quickly. Like by a month in, we were already besties, essentially. It was crazy to me because I never could have thought that that would have happened to me on my first year or first even month of school in grade 9. So that was awesome, and very soon we were having sleepovers and going to each other's like houses after school to do homework, and we took similar buses and we did everything. And when we weren't together at school, we would be constantly texting when we were apart, or we would be on Skype, or we would be on Facebook Messenger. I feel like we were just always in communication no matter what we were doing. And I think at first that was really cool. And in the first year of school, people just knew us as being like twins. They always saw us together. We were always walking down the hall together. We had lockers next to each other. She felt like a sister to me. And even though I did obviously have a sister, my sister Mandy, she was younger than me at the time, and she wasn't in high school at the time. So this was almost like my high school sister that I had. So I ended up coming up with this idea that we should have a journal together, a diary together. And so the rules of this diary is that one of us would bring it home after school and we would write sort of whatever was on our mind, really. If we had a class we were struggling with, if there was like a teacher we didn't like, if something embarrassing happened at school, anything we wanted we could write down in the journal. And we would also put like little bits and bobs in there, like maybe like concert tickets that we went to, stickers. It almost became kind of like a scrapbook slash diary slash journal between the both of us. We could draw pictures in there. Sometimes we would even like spray the page with the perfume that we were wearing that day. I know, like it was super intense, and it actually wasn't an original idea that I had with this friend. I had been doing this back in elementary school with another one of my best friends, and I kind of was like, oh, that was a cool idea, let me try it with this friend. But this was like a lot more intense. Like every single day we would swap it, and it was really cool at first. And so I was best friends with this girl in grade 9 all the way through grade 10. Just to speed up the story, things started going downhill when we were in grade 11. Now, throughout these 2 years, I have to say that this person was quiet, soft-spoken, smart, smiley, sweet, kind, all the qualities that you really want in a friend. Nothing seemed wrong, nothing seemed weird. Literally, when I look back on this story, the grade 9 and 10 was bliss. It was awesome. And yes, we were super close, and maybe looking back on it as an adult, I can see that it was almost a toxic situation, because there should never be anyone in your life that you're that attached to, where 24/7, every hour of the day, you're talking to, you're doing everything with. It was a very intense friendship. And maybe some people watching have friendships like that. That's okay, I guess, but it was like a lot if I look back on it, you know? I feel like I'm making this milk carton look very 90s with the purple and the blue. Like this is a 90s blood carton. So in grade 11, I started noticing that whenever I would take the diary back home after she had it, she started writing about different students in the school. And she would have like these phases of a month where she would pick a certain person that we didn't know personally, we weren't friends with, they were essentially a stranger, a student in the school that we didn't really know. Like every single page of her diary would be about that person, like what they were wearing that day, what kind of music she thought that maybe they would like, if that person maybe made eye contact with her that day. Like every single page was like obsessively writing about a certain student in the school. And I remember being so confused by it, but I didn't really say anything because, like, you know, people gossip in high school and people have like certain crushes and stuff. So I thought that maybe that's just like what it was. The people that she would pick were guys and girls, and they were always different and people we didn't know. And this went on for a few months. All I can say is that I do remember feeling a little bit weirded out by it. We're adding some pink into here because we're gonna make this just so colorful. I feel like I could have made this a lot spookier, but that's okay. I feel like this diary that we had was honestly a timeline of her decline. Looking back on it once again as an adult, it really looks like it was the descent of someone going into a psychotic break, because by around Christmas time of our grade 11 year, she wasn't just talking about people. She was drawing very disturbing images, like very bloody pictures of people dying and people getting hurt. And sometimes it would even be like the people that she was obsessing over, like in really bad, violent situations, like she would draw that of them. She would also have a lot of like self-harm ideations. She would write in capital letters, like all the feelings that she was feeling, but in very like aggressive ways. Sometimes she would write so hard in the journal that her pen or pencil would go through like 8 pages, and it was really intense. And I remember that specific month starting to be afraid of her. And even like seeing her in person, she started to look very tired, like she had these bags under her eyes, and it looked like the life was sucked out of her, like someone had taken my best friend away and replaced her with this monster, I guess I would say. And it was so strange. And I'm gonna keep saying looking back as an adult, because I really do have to do that to understand what was going on. Now, I actually have a folder in my office of all of these very scary images that she was drawing and all of these scary things that she was saying. I had to keep it as evidence for police. You're about to hear like kind of how everything went down, but I had to keep all of these pages. And before I filmed this video a couple days ago, I re-looked through the folder, and it scared me looking back and looking at all of these things. They were terrifying. And just thinking about my 16-year-old self, like looking through all of these after school, it's a really scary memory to recall. So it wasn't long before I told my parents, because I was getting more and more scared. And I believe they may have even seen some of the diary pages. And I believe they may have called her mom to tell her sort of what was going on and what her daughter's mindset was like. And my parents eventually told me, like, hey Jess, I think you should take a break on this friendship. I think it's unhealthy for you right now. I think it's toxic for you. And I think she's in a very bad place. And for your own safety, I think you should separate from her for a while. And I did agree. I mean, she was like drawing like teachers dying and stuff in these journals. Like it was just a whole obsession with people and violence that she had. And I honestly did feel unsafe. I was so torn because I really loved her as my friend and I cared about her, but I knew that this separation needed to happen. And I will always remember the phone call that I had. I was in my basement and I phoned her and I told her like, hey, like we can't be friends right now. I'm worried about you and I hope you get help, but right now like this cannot be happening. I think she even had some pages where she drew my parents and talked about my parents dying. And so I remember after I told her on that call, she was so upset. She got very erratic, very angry, was saying some very scary things to me. And I just told her like, I don't even know who you are right now. And I'm pretty sure I hung up the phone, and for the next couple days, because I believe it was over a weekend, she called me 100 times a day, left me hundreds of text messages, and I remember being so scared to go to school on Monday because I didn't know what would happen when I saw her. We had so many classes together. Monday did come around. I almost wanted to just like fake sick to like stay home, but I decided to go to school, and my very first class was art class, and I walked into class. I didn't see her sitting there. I found my seat, and I remember just the vibe and the energy of the room being very strange, and it was like I almost anticipated something was gonna happen. Something just felt very off. You know when you have like an intuition that something bad is gonna happen? That is what I had. So I was like halfway through art class, and I had to go to the washroom, and I remember walking to the washroom and like looking all around me, like just being really scared that someone was following me, even though I didn't see anybody. So I got to the washroom, I used the washroom, and oh my gosh, this part. I was washing my hands, and I was looking down at my hands, putting soap on them, and when I looked up into the mirror, she was standing behind me. It's crazy, like I know this part sounds like a horror movie, and it's one of the things that I really had to work through when I went to therapy for this afterwards, because it did feel like a real life horror movie, like how she just appeared behind me. And I remember like audibly gasping and turning around to her, and she was like pacing back and forth, and she was like huffing and puffing, and she was very angry, almost in tears, and she had a backpack with her. And I remember not being able to see her hand and thinking that I was in danger immediately. So I ran out of the bathroom, and people were still like in their classes at this point, so the entire school was empty, all the hallways were empty, and we had a maze of a school, okay? It wasn't like you can simply like get to the principal's office. You had to like take all these different routes to get there. So I remember I was trying to walk in that, well, I was running in that direction, and she kept grabbing my arms and pulling me back and grabbing my shoulders, and she was like scratching at my shoulders trying to get me to stop. It was weird because it wasn't like she was yelling things out loud. She was getting right up to my ear and like almost like whisper yelling very disturbing things. I don't even really remember what they are right now. I do have a police report that I might show you guys in the next video. I might even show you guys, I don't know if I can show you some of the journal entries and pictures, but I can probably read you what she wrote, and I'll do that in the next video. But as I was running, she was saying things in my ear like, I want to punch you, I want to hurt you, I don't even care if I get expelled for doing it. She was saying that she wanted to my parents, and she was repeatedly saying, I want to get a GUN. So I'm running away from her, she's erratic, and suddenly the bell rings and everyone comes out of their classes. And that actually really helped me because there were so many crowds everywhere that I was able to slip kind of through people. And this must have been a God thing, okay? Because I bumped right into my sister. Oh yeah, she was in grade 9 at the time, because this was grade 11. Yeah, she was in grade 9. This was her first year. So I grabbed onto her and I was like, oh my gosh, Mandy, this is what's happening. I told her everything. Her and I were able to actually go to the principal's office, and we told the principal what was going on, and they had to hide us in a back room. It's actually a little ironic that I'm moving to red now for the blood. It's really weird how this just happened. Okay, we're moving on to blood. That's strange because this story time is a not good one. So we're hiding in a room. They call the police just because of all the threats that she was making. She was talking about violent weapons and hurting me, so they had to call the police. And I remember there was teachers like going into the hallways looking for her, and the police eventually showed up, and there were so many cop cars, and all of these police ran into the school, and they were able to get her and cuff her. And as they were pulling her out of the school, she was screaming, I want to get a GUN, when they were asking about me and what she was trying to do. Like she kept saying that sentence over and over. She was screaming it. And so that is what I remember. And they cuffed her, they charged her, she was taken to jail, and I had to get a restraining order against her. And I remember going home that night and being so scared, making sure all of my doors were locked, that all of the curtains were over the windows. And I remember there was an officer that was with us for a while, and I was so scared when he had to leave. Couldn't sleep well, and I kept replaying her appearing behind me in the bathroom over and over again and her chasing me down the halls, and it almost just felt totally like surreal. I mean, I did feel better that she was with police, but I remember even going to school the next day, like just thinking that maybe she would appear somewhere, and I truly thought it was all over. But when I went to my locker, I saw that she had left some things for me in there, and she would have done this before everything happened the previous day. I just hadn't gone to my locker. And she put like these little games and riddles and puzzles in there for me to solve, and they would say different things to me. Like this one puzzle, once I like figured out all the words and the letters, it said something like, "You'll never get away from me." And that was terrifying, once again, like a horror movie. And I actually still have that puzzle in that folder in my office, and maybe I could show that to you in the next video. I really need to figure out what I can and can't show. So you'll see in the next video what I decide to do on that. Also, I wanna just say that all of these things are mine. They were things that were used in evidence, and the journals, they were mine and hers. So I'm not like taking things from her without her permission. Like these are things she gave to me and wrote to me. Anyway, so school soon ended. We went through the summertime. Obviously, I didn't hear from her. I had the restraining order. And then I think right before my last year of school started, so right before I went into grade 12, I was lying in my room one day, probably scrolling on Tumblr or something, and I got a strange text message from a number that I didn't have in my contact book, and it just said, "Hey." And at first I didn't think much of it. I was like, maybe someone has like the wrong number or something. So I kept like scrolling on my laptop, and then like suddenly something hit me and I was like, wait, let me look at this number again. And something about the number was familiar, and my heart dropped, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is her. But I had to make sure, so I texted back, "Who is this?" And they texted back, "Guess who?" And I knew she liked games, I knew she liked riddles, and so I just knew this was her. So we had to call the police again because she broke the restraining order, and they did confirm that the number was hers. They had to go arrest her again, take her to jail again, and that officially was the last time I heard from her. And yeah, I had to go to therapy, like trauma therapy, and I had PTSD after that, and I like struggled to understand how we went from such a like strong friendship to that decline. But I don't know what she's doing in her life right now, but I really do hope that she is happier and that she's doing well, and that she's just having a good time in life, right? Because there was a moment that we were close, and so there is a part of me that cares about her well-being and hopes that she's doing well now. Anyways, guys, I think that's all there really is to say about it. I did leave a lot of details out, but I think this is the version of the story that I want to tell. It's a lot shorter than an hour or 3 hours, and there are some questions that you probably have, and there's questions that I have too. But I'm glad this is off of my chest, and I do want to say that I want her privacy kept, so please don't try and figure out who this is. Please don't look for her. I want to keep any identifying features out of videos. I want her to remain anonymous, so please, out of respect for me, please don't go looking into stuff like that. Anyways, I am going to finish this milk carton so I can show you guys what it looks like. All right, my art is complete. I didn't do the full page because I didn't have time for that, okay? I didn't have the patience for that. But I did do the 90s milk carton. It's not my best work, okay? I can't say sitting down coloring, talking about a traumatic experience is gonna bring out my best art. But I think it's still okay. And I hope you guys enjoyed my coloring. So we're on our way to get our niece her first birthday present. We are using a new tripod in our car. It's like this interesting suction device. It's actually used for car racing. So it's a pretty intensive, crazy device. So hopefully it works for this vlog. We could put this outside while we're driving, but that's not the type of vlog we're doing today. So the goal of today is to get my niece a really cute little birthday outfit. And I also want to find her a really cute toy. So I think we're either going to hit up Walmart or Toys R Us and maybe Winners to find a cute dress or something. So we're going to take you along with us, and I really hope we find something adorable. It's actually crazy to think that she's already turning 1 year old. It literally feels like yesterday that we were getting up, I think around midnight, to drive to the hospital in the middle of a snowstorm to meet our niece for the first time. And now she's 1 and she's adorable and she's almost walking and she's almost talking. Right now she's doing these little like whisper sounds. She loves to do kappa 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 kappa. That's her favorite thing to do. By the way, I'm holding my camera mic right now in case you see it in the frame.
Like the sound of somebody grating against a microphone is because Jessie's accidentally rubbing it against her jacket.
Kappa kappa. Anyway, let's find something adorable. We were successful. So I'm gonna show you a little haul of what we got. I'm so excited. We found this like very 90s vibes tracksuit for her. I hope it's not too big. It does say 12 months, so she should be able to fit into it now. I'm sorry I'm blocking you, Ty.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
It's so cute and so soft. And while I was in there, I just wanted to get Mandy a little something because moms deserve love too. And so I got her a little Valentine's Day sweater. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little heart design on it. And then at Toys R Us, we got her like music instrument sets.
What are you talking about, her?
Pass it here. It's for you.
Well, they're mine now.
He's not giving them to me.
Oh.
He won't give them to me.
Well, they're mine.
So we got 2 maracas, and I don't know, they're supposed to make some sort of noise. Maybe music plays as you shake them. We're not really sure. We got a tambourine. I'm so excited. I called Mandy when we were in the store and I was like, what does she want? And Mandy was like, I literally have a registry. I didn't pay any attention to that. So I went on there and apparently she wants musical instruments. So I hope these will suffice. And then we got a little drum set.
I turned it off.
Anyway, I'm so excited about these guys. I hope she loves them. And I hope you enjoyed our little vlog today.
That's scared me. Being in a car, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear a siren noise when you're in a car.
Anyways, I will see you guys in the next vlog. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.
See you guys.